episode, Doug walks in and he goes, I'm really excited for today's episode because I'm not a podcast guy. I've never really been into podcast, even though he shows up to a podcast for 3 years in a row. That's neither here nor there. I'm not much of a podcast guy, but I've lived through you watching Joe Rogan, and you were like a big fan of Joe Rogan. I'd see clips of Joe Rogan through you, and now I've seen you playing present clips of him, and he sucks. And I've watched the evolution through your eyes. So that's pretty profound, Doug. But today, we're really hammering down on that because that evolution's very real. Here's a guy that we could spend hours showing you clips who doubted everything and now has become a mouthpiece for the state in kind of hiding and fogging up these stories. But without further ado, we're going to dive right in talking about, Representative Tim Burchett coming out of Kentucky, right? He has been on a roll recently. First, it started with a couple podcasts where he's trying to bring attention to UFOs. So here he is on Stephen A. Smith.
Trump the other day, you need disclosure. We need transparency. America can handle it. I'm sick of hearing this stuff. We can't handle it. It's, and I'm a Christian, and they appealed to me on that level. Burchett, this stuff's kind of anti-Christian, and your beliefs. I said, no, it isn't. Genesis 1, God created the heavens and the earth. I wouldn't believe it unless I saw it with my own 2 eyes. Okay?
All right.
So, but Trump's the guy to do it. If anybody will do it, if anybody's a disruptor, it's Donald J. Trump, and he will disrupt with this. And I had a conversation with folks at the White House today just about that, and we're going to be, hopefully some things will be coming out soon.
So Burchett is going everywhere, all over the podcast universe, screaming that we got to do something about the UFOs. There's a lot that the people need to know about, and we're not keeping you in the know. And it wasn't until he got on the biggest political voice or platform in the modern internet era, where he goes on the JRE to truly discuss the UFO saga and how he's leaning on Trump to disclose it all and bring truth to the people. But before we get into the meat of that, the real dialogue is Joe Rogan, right? Mm-hmm. Our sacred clown, the little guy, the big scientist, funny man. And that being said, he's made his message very clear. Money gets in the way of people, but he's not talking about himself.
That have experienced violent crime, and it's going to change a lot of people's lives.
So here's Joe and Burchett talking about medical science and how that leads into a logical point about how money fogs agendas and truth
and abuse.
Yes,
and
all the above, everything.
And they're not like going to be walking around like some kind of crazy zombies thing. It's a very controlled thing. And
especially Ibogaine. Ibogaine is not recreational in any shape or form. No one's taking it recreationally. I've never done it, but I've heard it's a terrible experience. But you come out on the under end of it.
You haven't done it out of an apple yet, dude.
And Rick Perry was also talking about how he's experienced natural brain atrophy, being a man in his 70s.
Yeah.
He went and got an examination after he did it, and his brain atrophy had dropped by 25%. He went back in 6 months later, was all gone. Just that alone.
Wow.
Think about all the elderly people out there that are suffering for memory loss and all these different issues that people have, that could fix them, and that it's literally just one experience that you have that takes 12 hours, and when it's over, you're better. That's crazy. And then we've kept this from people. There's no chance of people being addicted.
The money.
Somebody wants to control but at some point in time, we've got to be human.
Oh, I agree.
All these money people have to realize you only have a certain amount of time on this planet.
You need to shut them out.
You have an opportunity to make the world a better place. And we got to say no to people that just want personal money. They just want personal funds that going to go to their money, that's going to go to their bank accounts, going to go to their company, their corporation.
How y'all feel about this?
Personal benefit at the expense of who knows how many people, including literal heroes.
When's enough for those guys?
Yeah, when is enough? I mean, this is the same feeling that I have about this disclosure stuff. Like, I don't care what it's going to affect. I don't care. Like, if there's real things out there that we don't know about, you as a human being have no right to keep that from the rest of humanity.
Interesting. But they do. And he plays no part in that. He plays no part in that, right? Now,
he's the
What is it?
He's the Heyoka.
Oh, it was peyote.
He's the Heyoka, but here's a young Joe Rogan screaming from the top of his lungs exactly what he would do for money and power.
He told you.
Not only can you never talk about it publicly, you have to be a debunker publicly.
I'll tell the government right now, tell you right now if you're listening, NSA, CIA, I'm available. Okay? If you show me all the real wreckage, I swear to God, I will make fun of that crap to the end of time. I'll make up stories. I'll lie to my mother. I don't care. You show me you got I'll lie to my mother.
He told you from the start.
They got me.
How much longer does Israel let us stay alive, do you think?
Well, so with that being said, let's go back to the honest man.
I don't care what 3-letter organization you work for. You're a human being, and you have an obligation to the other human beings to alert us. The fact that there's people that have, if this is real, and there's people that have gone to their grave with this information that would literally change the course of human history, that's a crime. It's a real crime.
Could you imagine
crime against
countries,
humanity?
the people that suffer, the deserts and things like that, if you could cool their huts or whatever,
right.
and we get out of these worthless wars.
Yeah. 2 guys sitting at the table going, we know what the hell's going on. And someone should really tell the folks at home. Now, it won't be us, but somebody should tell them.
You get dadgummit across the table going like, man, if only someone would.
And going back to the clip of him and Stephen A. Smith, like, I really want to, but it's got, I'm not a pot stirrer, but Donald Trump, he's good at that thing. Yeah. He's got to do it.
No, he's been really good at that thing.
Yeah, he's more things than one.
Can I make an observation about Joe, though? I don't watch him nearly as much as I used to. I know you'll give him the hate watch on occasion because I respect the hater. I respect the true hater. He's looking old. He's looking old and tired. And
well, how about this? Let's get to the core of like another thing. When we ask the question at Joe Rogan, when is enough enough? The reality of the core of that question is, what are you doing it for at this point? Because at a certain point, it was for money. It was to grow. Sure. You wanted to make an impact in the Hollywood arena, and you had a tech guy that could wire this up in your basement. Why not roll with it? And it's just comedians shit talking. But very quickly, it turned into your show. You talking about your interests with scientists and interesting people that interested you. You had a genuine curiosity, and yes, money blossomed from it. But that was the symptom of what you were doing, which was the project itself.
Welcome to our live show.
The project itself is just keeping the lights. I'm not even here because I want to. What's crazy is you see some of these interviews and it really does. It's clear. It's like, oh, you didn't pick this guy. Right. This was contractually obligated. Yeah. However, those contracts or obligations or, conspirator relationships go between you, government actors, or corporations funding you, or agencies that are opening the door to Area 51. Whatever it is that has the quid pro quo for this, I do that. You're no longer doing this for shits and giggles versus a show that's coming into no money, spending all of the money, and clearly just doing this for the fun of it. That should be the motivation in it all versus a guy that's like, I'm not even pleased I got to be here, but we're going to do it and kick it around and censor himself. What were you going to say, Doug?
No, just if you had the chance to get an inside view of Area 51, like you just said, would you not take it?
Well, so let's ask that question.
What cost?
What cost? What's the cost you're willing to take on for those types of experiences? The reality is vast majority of Americans who have walked through the crest of Area 51 have signed that agreement, the NDA, the non-disclosure agreement, that I will experience the damn thing and never talk about it. But what Joe Rogan said at age 25 on the Sci-Fi Channel was real clear. I'm willing to pay you something. Not just everybody's willingness is to be silent. Doug just said, I'm willing to be quiet. I think we'd all agree. I'll go to Area 51 and try I'm autistically open. I tell everybody, you want to know? So maybe that's why I'm just never even going to have the option. But for those that can keep a secret, I can see the cost benefit analysis where you're like, hey, I can make the promise at least that I will not talk about the thing.
Mm-hmm.
But Joe Rogan made a broadcasted claim. I will give you my voice. You can own my ideology. You can own my gospel at the cost of me getting all the secrets. I will lie and manipulate on a mass scale for that.
And then they helped them get there.
And they were like, get that one.
Yeah,
Give him a handful of joints and some bourbon.
Realistically, they couldn't have asked for a better voice to broadcast on television.
What do you mean?
Like, of all the people that are just civilians, because at the time, Rogan's still just a civilian, you couldn't have asked for a better voice at the time to say that early on, before all the money and the fame really started hitting.
Sorry, Mickey.
Which, when it did,
Had to
probably
run.
got the same attitude. They were like, oh, this is perfect.
Oh, right.
Perfect. You know what I mean?
Well, speaking of which, so keeping us grounded in the Burchette podcast episode, here's United States Congress representative disclosing the cost, what it takes to maintain a lifestyle in Washington, D.C. How money, special interests, and personal agendas are almost impossible to avoid if you want to live up this lifestyle. And then we're going to transition to who the real Joe Rogan is, kind of what you were alluding to.
Okay.
That, they got expenses at home, got a couple kids in school, got payments on a house, and $170,000 doesn't go as far as it used to, I guess.
And just human nature. You want more. People want more. They want, whatever it is.
And a lot of times it's not them investing, it's their wife or their spouse. And we've seen cases of that where, the 16-year-old kid is doing pretty well.
Right. And it's the child of someone who has some inside information. There's something that just came out yesterday about Ro Khanna. This guy, Kevin Bass, on Twitter posted this big, long, this examination of his stock trades and how much money he's made and how he.
Hey, man, he's the only one besides Massey really digging into the Epstein thing. Like, pick the battles. Let Ro Khanna get a one or two.
Yeah. I mean,
Pelosi's getting the same dollar and looking the other way on the Epstein file. So let Ro Khanna let one side.
She's looking the other way on the plane there.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just all over Congress.
We're back with that, Mickey.
Inside information. That's what it is.
That's disappointing. I know, Ro.
But
I don't know if it's true.
I don't. Either. Yeah,
you could pull it up.
For a guy who spent his entire podcast career terrified of his fight against aging, I don't think he's winning.
Well,
he'll beat all of our asses.
Everybody gets older, but I looked it up while you were talking.
Look at his eyes. He looks like a tired dog.
He's only 58. That's what I mean.
Uncle Michael would beat his ass. Uncle Michael's done 0 ice baths, no alpha brain, no steroids, plenty of bourbon.
I'll take it.
And plenty of chicks. Uncle Michael would kick his ass.
I'll take it.
And Uncle Michael is 2 Joe Rogans standing on top of each other. That's another thing.
I'm like looking at him, and that's why I had to look it up. I'm like, how old is Rogan now? And he's 58. I'm like, man, he looks like he's wear and tearing right now.
I want Uncle Michael and him in an octagon.
Oh my God, yes!
And I think that's the funny, and maybe he's just having a bad day. I don't know. I don't see Rogan.
Hey, but here's the thing. Pick a random episode the last 6 months. They're all a bad day anymore, dude.
That's what I mean. It's just like, is something medically wrong, or is he like you brought up contractually obligated? Like he has guests. I don't think this one was, but I'm sure he's had guests. Plenty of guests now that are contractually obligated. You have to talk to this person. I wonder if it's just getting to him and it's just aged.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Dude, I'm mad because I wanted a levity joke in the future that we're going to get to, but I'm realizing it's one of the videos I wasn't able to rip for our library today. But just seeing the redacted testimony of Kash Patel from his committee hearing on Epstein, and it's literally the congressperson flipping it, and it's all black pages, just all blacked out. It's like, oh, I'm so glad you disclosed it. Redacted, redacted, redacted. And then Joe Rogan, who spends his entire career asking these questions, getting Alex Jones to get all riled up about the elites eating babies. And then he's sitting across from one of those bug-eyed bastards who's like, oh my God, Elon Musk just tweeted that the only reason you're not getting Epstein files is because Donald Trump's in them. What do you have to say, FBI director who promised he would disclose them? And then the chameleon's like, that one I'm not touching. And it's like, damn. I don't think that was as smooth for him as we wanted to believe. I think Joe, in a human world, which I don't know if this is computer or not anymore, but in a human world, at least a little part of the real Joe Rogan would die in a podcast room he paid for, built, and totally manages. And the FBI director's like, not today. And he's like, oh, okay. And I'm just supposed to accept that? That kills your soul a little bit.
Yeah. Especially you walked into your basement to do this. I walked into your basement to talk to you and you killed my soul a little.
No, well, I do want to correct. He's no longer in his basement. This is a dude that has like a Walmart facility compound where bow hunting and, a gym, and he has a militia guarding. So that's why I really want you to picture to go from your basement to rolling up in your $200,000 Raptor truck to a military compound, protecting your microphoning young Jamie, who's not young as shit at all anymore.
I'm looking that up too. Continue, but I'm looking up Jamie's age now too.
Dude, he's older than us. He's got to be 45.
I know that.
My guess of young Jamie is 45.
Continue. I don't want to get you off your point.
No, but imagine going from your basement to rolling up to that, and the only cost is your integrity. You get to live like a king, and as you walk in, everyone bows. Oh, my Lord. Oh, like literally Farquaad. He hops off his Raptor, then out of his little extendo legs, and he walks in, and all of the militia was like, hello, my lord, and he's like, that's fucking right. Now, I can't talk about all the baby raping, but, hey, what are we here for? And then he sits down and talks to the bug-eyed lizards.
I like how you made him a South Park cartoon, and then gave him a, old mobster Italian voice. I really enjoyed every bit of that right there.
So how old is he?
43.
Bingo, I was right there.
I didn't know his last name, so I literally Googled how old is young Jamie.
and it got you there.
It knew exactly what I was talking about.
So real quick, let's finish this out.
If you want, Jamie, it's Kevin Bass, B-A-S-S. It's Bass or Bass. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but he made this very detailed post about it. But I mean, that's just one example of one person who's profited. I'm sure it's probably minor in comparison to the other 11 that are ahead of Nancy Pelosi.
I sleep on my couch in my office, and I shower in the gym. I don't have a place.
Yeah,
can't afford it. It's too Pelosi. I sleep on my couch in my office, and I shower in the gym. My couch in my office, and I shower in the gym. I don't have a place. I can't afford it.
So he sleeps on his couch in his office, and he showers at the gym. He does not have a place in D.C. That's peculiar. Why is that?
It's too expensive up there. I got elected with a guy one time, and he said, when we got elected, he said, hey, Burchett, I just paid $1.2 million for this place. What do you think? And I know he was just bragging to me, because no way I could do something like that. And he said, and I said, well, probably in a couple of years, they're going to say, I can't believe you only paid $1.2 million for it, because the price of that real estate is just crazy. It is crazy. And it's a rich man's game. It is really a rich man's game.
And the problem with being around rich men is even if you're rich, you don't feel like you're rich if you're in comparison to them. And so if you're worth a couple million and this guy over here is worth 50, you're like, damn, I got to up my game.
I got to game.
And you're in this sort of.
And notice he's talking about it like that's an infection only. Those mammals are succumbing to. Though, it's a very human thing, very natural, primal thing. I wouldn't know anything about that.
Culture. This culture of a bunch of people that are investing a bunch of money and making a bunch of returns. And
I'll tell you, it was a public meeting. I remember it was in transportation. It dealt with some technology in an airport. It was pretty cool. And I just asked the question. I said, is your stock publicly traded? And, I was watching people see what they did. Then they all looked up, and I thought, note to self, call my broker when I walk out of here,
It's just very odd that has been legal for so long. That's what's very odd.
It's disgusting. And
it's interesting to hear Joe Rogan discuss it in this way where he's like, it's only natural when you're around these rich people and you're rich, but they're even richer. It makes you feel like you need to be an even bigger leech on society. Billionaires are a crime. Millionaires should be a very realistic human goal. But when the millionaires are around billionaires, it becomes, I need to be a part of this club. And of course, that was never a part of Joe Rogan's nature.
Off Fear Factor. Yeah. Then I do the Man Show. Then I do stand-up.
Means what list do you make about
before taxes?
5 days. You say a couple million. 5 days.
Dude, I don't lie. You saying I lie? Is that what you're saying?
Million a year?
Dude, I make more than that. With the Man Show?
No, this is a Fear Factor.
I make a couple $1 million a year. More than that, actually. I have the biggest house in Bell Canyon. Most expensive house ever sold. You don't think I do? Look it up. What are you doing? You hating right here? No. I thought you were cool up until right now. You just got a little weird. I'm not your regular actor, motherfucker. I just lost a lot of respect for you, dude. Oh, it's only like the top 10 show in the fucking country for 4 years. Yes, it is, motherfucker. It's the 4th season. 78 episodes in. Number 79 will air on Monday. Tune in. It's fucking NBC. It's not fucking cable.
I'm one of the richest game show hosts out there, dog.
You shit. That's amazing. NBC? What do you mean NBC? It's the #1 network in the country. What kind of dumb shit have you roped yourself into a corner with? You are hating. You're hating. He's talking about I make 500,000 a year. Oh, you say 2 million. It's probably 500, maybe 8. He's saying, I go, it's network television. He goes, oh, it's NBC. It's only the #1 network. What are you talking about? 30 episodes a year. What are you, inside the loop or something? You're a fucking porno star.
Let me be clear about closing out my point here.
That dude's grin. That porno star was the most. Got me.
Yeah, I'm worth millions, and I'm having a lot more fun than you, Joe. You're watching people eat cow balls. She's eating my balls. There's the difference. Even more so, if that doesn't show you the symptom of Joe Rogan's nature that could and did inevitably become his downfall. When somebody can look you in the face and go, hey man, I will give away, I'll tell the people whatever you want me to tell them, as long as I get to have access to the secrets. You believe them. And I just want to remind people, for the real JREers out there, before it was very clear he is compromised and now a part of the greater PSYOP. Back when I think he was actually an anomaly in the system, you had a guy who just had his friends on, they talked their shit, and they talked real life. And he has Bert Kreischer and Tom Segura on his show prior to them becoming sellouts, back when people still liked them because they were just genuinely trying to be comedians and not trying to be stars and celebrities willing to give away their souls for the prize. So when that was the case, they're on the show and they're concerned for their buddy Bert. Bert has built his entire brand around drinking. He can't stop drinking. He takes his shirt off every show, and holy shit, he's fat. And I'm the exercise expert, and I'm actually genuinely worried for my friend. My friend thinks he has a Mickey Mantle gene and can magically be a superhero even though he's 200, 300 pounds overweight. So they concoct a thing called Sober October. And the first year, they're kind of working out the weeds of the whole thing. Yeah. But it was a fun competition, and Joe wrecked them all. But it worked out great because it got Bert to be sober for an entire month through a competition, because that's all of our spirits, especially these men, the manly men that are, I don't know, moth to a flame when it comes to a solid competition, friendly gaming.
Alex, you're talking competition. All I can think about is the Seinfeld episode. That's all.
What?
The competition.
What about it?
Oh, dude, the episode where all those friends on Seinfeld, they make the agreement to not jerk off. It's a competition.
Oh God!
And the last one to do it wins all the money in the pot. And it's like you're talking about a competition. It's like, dude, that's all I think.
All right, I'm going to say it publicly on the show because I keep meaning we need to stop referencing shows. This is the show. And when you go, yeah, that thing on South Park, and I'm like, what? Either make the full point about it, or don't. Please just don't mention it.
I mean, Seinfeld contest, pretty well.
Sure,
done.
awesome, maybe.
Well
Boomers aren't watching this.
Did you know it?
No, I didn't watch Seinfeld.
You never watched Seinfeld? Oh my!
Can you continue your point, please?
I'd love to. So we were talking about Joe Rogan.
Sober October.
Sober October.
I got you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
Contest between friends.
Yes. So the second time, Bert's like, you got to remember, this guy has body dysmorphia, and he genuinely thinks he's a super athlete. He also has the Mickey Mantle gene. So he's like this magic athlete, even though he's got a belly bigger than most pregnant people.
Could you expand on the Mickey Mantle gene thing?
His narrative about what the Mickey Mantle gene is that I'm just genetically extra athletic.
Okay.
That like I'm a guy that could pick up any sport and be good at it, and I can be in Bert Kreischer rough shape and still be. I will consider myself an athlete, dude. It's a mental disorder more than it is an actual gene.
I just wanted to kind of.
But I appreciate it because I'm speaking about it, and
I was like,
obviously more people wouldn't know.
I was like, I figured that's what it was, but I just
fair question.
I knew that's what it was too, but it's good to know.
So he comes in year 2. I'm going to show the little guy how this works.
Right.
So they make some rules to really like make it a competition. And Bert's got the money brain. Like this guy is a walking commercial. And he looks at the 3 most famous comedians at the time and he goes, we can make this a branding opportunity. We should get together with a heart rate company and make it a big ad for them and have them pay us. So they use some heart rate equipment. They're making some super ad over the course of October for this equipment. Okay, you know, we could gauge our sleep and how much we recover in our sleep and blah, 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 blah. And they were using this to measure how much fat burned and like exercise.
Calories,
but it wasn't necessarily calories because clearly Bert's got way more calories than Joe. So it was like levels of exhaustion. And it got to a point where Joe he locked himself in a closet with his elliptical, turned the room up to max temperature and sweated the shit out of the room to where it was steaming and set off the fire alarm. His wife was disgustingly concerned with Joe by the end of it and banned him from doing this because he's that competitive. And I wish I had the time to prepare it all, like, you know, podcast cringe. But if you go back and watch the clips of Joe talking about that, where he was like, he's yelling at Bert, like, I'm not letting you win. You know, when you've got a guy that's built his whole brand around being, I'm the super athlete comedian, not the fat guy. It became a fight for his identity. And this guy was going to die beating them. One little guy should be pointed out that you barely beat Bert. Hence why you won't do it again. But also his competitive spirit, his competitive nature is so venomous, like the Spider-Man venom. It literally takes him over that he loses control of himself. And so whether it's a friendly, sober October, just exercise with some friends, or measuring bank account dicks with a porn star, he is 100% infected by competition. And so you can see in this game of Monopoly he will die. He will stop at nothing to be not only, you know, what does George Carlin say? It's one big club and you ain't in it. Not only is he in it, but he doesn't like being the guest forced to sit at the White House induction of Trump's new term, whatever the swearing-in ceremony or whatever. The commencement, thank you. He doesn't... Inauguration. Commencement's closing out.
Yeah.
So his inauguration, Joe's not a guy that wants to just be in the crowd. He wants to be having the medal put around his neck. He wants to be on the stage. I'm the guy. And he's so acute. My analysis of this is he's so acutely aware of the power dynamic in this world, what it really is, that he needs to be a seat at that table. Right. And these politicians being funneled through his podcast magically now in a world where I would never interview Trump and blah, 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 blah. Now he's doing all of the bootlickers and puppets. That tells you he got his seat at the table. We know it. He was able to get a little badge of honor from Donnie. Donald Trump brought him into the White House, and he got his little badge of honor because he got mushrooms and psilocybin for veterans. Cool stuff. I love it. At what cost? That came up in a recent podcast too, where somebody had brought that up, and he goes, listen, you know, I don't make that call often where it's like, all right, now it's time for you to do something for me. But I thought long and hard of what that call would be, and this is what I decided it would be. It's like, one.
That's it.
Thank you. Thank you. One of the most powerful voices in the world. That's it. That's as far as you. It's not even like it's legal.
Why couldn't you get them for me?
Yeah, no. Or for yourself, asshole. You're not a veteran. You're a veteran of Fear Factor and Radio City or whatever the sitcom was.
Hey, that was a top 10 show on NBC, man.
Whoop whoop. Yeah, he told the porn guy that.
I was like, don't be disrespecting me.
I don't know, Ricky. We're saying a lot. Do you have any thoughts on this thing?
We miss the old Joe. The guests don't hit the same. The atmosphere is not the same anymore since he traded that brick wall with the American flag on it.
Yup.
Yeah, it hasn't been.
When he went to that red pill room where everybody was like, yo, this is like a Star Wars Sith pod. Get out of here. And he was maybe in it for like 4 months, spent like $2 million on the studio set and was like, well, we're abandoning it. It's like, yeah, dude, that was the point.
Yeah, that's when he moved to move to Austin. That was the downfall.
Yeah, that's what it was. He changed when he moved to Austin. And the reality is this. You saw the change towards the end of his stay in Los Angeles, but there was still this hope that, like, well, it's COVID and all the crazy shit of California. Get him out of California. Once he gets to Austin, we're going to get back to the true blue Joe Rogan. And we forgot that.
And it's
at the time. So it wasn't just Joe, but Joe was definitely the biggest name. He might have been the trailblazer.
Oh, yeah. He brought everybody.
And it's when he switched to Spotify as well. I wasn't consistent with it because I wasn't about to pay for Spotify.
Well, it makes you wonder, you know, what else was a part of that deal that we didn't get to see. But again, I never thought he was compromised at that moment, because what was his biggest FU? His first episode back on Spotify was Alex Jones.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, my God. Yeah, that is right.
And that actually had all of the employees at Spotify protesting. Then Spotify, the company, took the position of, we spent $300 million on this guy. You're going to go before he does. Yes. And that really sent a message. We killed the liberal delusion so hard a year and a half ago that we genuinely forget how infectious it really was.
Oh, yeah.
Like the liberal poison in our atmosphere was unpalatable. Mm-hmm. And that was a key moment in fighting that. Yeah. So how do you not sit back and go, he was a major piece in liberating us or fighting this machine? I mean, he did the major debate. And this is to Ricky's point. This is the old studio, but he did the big debate, crushing Twitter. And I've romanticized with Will. I've told him, going back, and I won't watch, like, go to 1100, 1200 or older. And that's like 2019 and older.
That was in 2018.
So you're like, yeah, that one was in 2018. So like right before the pandemic.
Yes.
It's a totally different show, to the point where you're romanticizing what he used to be, what the guests used to be. There's so many great guests that have come through there. You haven't seen them since. Something very peculiar about somebody like Tom Papa, who's just a dad who makes bread. And that was Joe Rogan's best friend. I don't like the guy anymore, but so was, who's the bald redhead? Bill Burr. They had a huge falling out on his show, and they can't even look at each other anymore. So some of the great relationships, some of the great guests, totally fallen off. He had Tom Papa every other week, to the point it was driving guests crazy, or the fans crazy. We're tired of Tom. And he was like, I don't give a shit. This is my best friend. Now Tom's gone.
Yeah, where is Tom?
Totally gone. Tom's doing his own thing.
Okay.
He's a clean comic. He's doing his thing. He's doing his tours. He's got a show. He's got his bread company. And yet, not at all on a show he was on almost every other week. Now, you could make the argument he's an LA guy. Joe moves to Austin. That strains things.
Yeah, like they can't fly.
But you're flying it. Exactly.
Like, come on.
Exactly.
It's not like he's in Vermont.
We're talking about a guy.
And Bill Burr changed.
Literally. What's that, Ricky?
And Bill Burr changed too. Bill Burr Monday podcasts don't hit the same no more. You don't hit the same anymore, bro.
Yeah.
I have no idea what he's doing too. Like, I'm assuming still comedy, but
I think, he's got a wife that's got him by the balls, and he's starting a family, so he's fading away and taking care of his home life. So I don't blame him.
He made his money. I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's been. I mean, I can't tell you the last time I really saw a Bill Burr thing.
Well, and even more so, I mean, Ricky, he broke America by remoting in to Edward Snowden on the run in Russia through a secured line that halfway through the podcast, the FBI tapped into. So I want to cut over to our main, I love the fact that we've got Brad Richardson in the chat today. We love having Brad. And there was a comment Brad made earlier when we were talking about Joe Rogan, and he goes, they've all lied to us. I'll tell you all, also, I want the secrets. There was one comment that really stood out to me.
For reference, if you want like a time frame, that Edward Snowden one was October 23rd, 2019.
Okay.
So like you said, still in that 2019 pre-pandemic era, Rogan.
Right.
Just for a frame of reference.
I appreciate that. Yeah. But the bigger piece is this. You've got a guy who the FBI is breaking into your chat. And when we're all, the comments, of course they're lying to us. Of course he'd sell out, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't that easy to see at the time. No. The perspective of time illuminates everything. It's clear as day to us today. One, I'm older. I've experienced more. I've been damn near lied to by the government and every talking box for the last 6 years of my life, clearly, whereas before, at least it was camouflaged. What's more convincing? Like, it's either a charade or at the time he was genuine and then became compromised. But there's nothing more convincing than a guy who discloses, a whistleblower, saying that the government is illegally wiretapping, listening to you, creating files, monitoring you. It's all a super police state. This was back in 2011. Nothing's changed. Flat cameras, good damn things. They've got all of this on you. It's illegal as shit. The government's like, yeah, illegal as shit. You're not allowed to tell people. Also illegal as shit. So our thing's okay because you're not allowed to tell them. Put them in a cage. And he's like, I'm gone. When you get to talk to that guy, and the FBI is breaking into the conversation and meddling, that shit's pretty damn believable. So that's either one of the greatest psyops of all time, or he wasn't compromised at one given point and became that way currently.
I think it's the latter.
It has to be, dude.
Dude,
he hasn't talked about PMT in 10 years.
Yeah, I think it was sometime during the Biden administration.
Yeah,
I think
COVID
so
thing. I think
COVID. I think he was not at war against ivermectin. He was not at war against CNN. He was controlled opposition because he brings Sanjay Gupta on his show, wipes him up, makes the Douglas Murray, he makes the medical expert selling you the COVID bullshit, makes him look retarded. And then the whole world goes, holy shit, the small midget comedian made the scientist expert look retarded. And then Joe goes, whoa, guys. He may have been a little bit retarded, but he's a good guy. And I like the guy. You guys can have your opinions, take what you will from the show, but he had good intention. I think so then he became a defender of it. It was the perfect, I'm with Ricky. I think that was the first time he played his role. And then let's also acknowledge that was the same moment where he left the little comedy sphere where we're all listening to him on YouTube, and he became a name at your boomer parents' dinner table. CNN's reporting about him. Donald Trump's talking about him. Fauci's talking about him. He feels like a victim. CNN took my clip and turned me orange because I recovered from COVID so well. He was a sacred clown playing his part in the circus.
And I looked it up. That was September of 21. So that lines up with when you and Ricky kind of mentioned too as well.
Yeah, I think that was the moment. He stepped into his role. He delivered perfectly because even at that time, he was never interviewing Trump. That's a bad guy, and I'm never getting involved.
At that time, he was truly the edgy podcaster and the UFC commentator.
Yep.
That was strictly all he was.
Right.
At that point.
But then again, let's remind ourselves how deeply embedded the UFC commissioner is. Like, why is he at every he walks out of the White House Correspondents' Dinner, bang, 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 bang. He walks out. That was the coolest thing I've ever seen. This dinner was awesome. Why are you there? Why are you standing behind the president at his inauguration? And we're supposed to pretend that the second in command, that's the talking mouthpiece for that organization, also isn't in one big cabal organization. You know what I mean? Like it's all 2 degrees too close.
I'd give Dana just slight leeway just because I know Trump helped him out early on in the integration of the UFC like 25 years ago. So
what does that tell you? Quid pro quo.
Yeah,
scratch my back, I scratch yours.
But I don't think he has quite the influence that Rogan does. Like I think.
Well, no, that's what I mean. But who does Rogan work for? He works for somebody.
Yeah.
And he's directly employed by Dana White. So you've got a guy that's employed by Dana White, and then he's obsessed with the UFC, right? I'm a big MMA guy, so I keep talking to all these MMA guys. Now all my fans are getting super, super pissed at me about the UFC episodes. They're boring. We don't like them. We're here for the scientists. So maybe like around 2018, 2017, he literally changes it. And now you have the count of episode 1100, episode 1101, episode 1102. And then he has JRE MMA 1, JRE MMA 2, JRE MMA, and now he's separated it. So this is a guy that loves archery more. He makes that clear. Hunting, elk, all that. He is very, very, very passionate about MMA. But he has passions that are greater than MMA. He would much rather talk to Cameron Haynes from Under Armour about archery than he would Sugar Sean one more time.
Right.
But somehow he's made an entire arm of his show now, UFC. And dude, he's a part of the UFC. So of course that's not outrageous. Of course he would. But it's to say, who's motivating that piece? I'm sure his interests are a player, but I also do kind of believe that You are a top dog in the UFC. Under the UFC, working for the UFC, which is also going to be fighting at the White House. What, this weekend?
I don't know. Is it this weekend?
Fighting at the White House?
Seriously?
Where have you been?
I didn't know.
You pull out the
That's a
Seinfeld
part of our.
reference, but don't know this. You might be right. It could be this weekend.
I'm pretty sure it's this weekend.
It'll be closer to 4th of July.
June 14th.
I'll be like, it'll be closer.
Okay. The reason I was thinking that is because I'm seeing a lot of Sugar Sean clips popping up lately. So I'm like, of course, it's going to be the hype's coming.
Right.
But again, so this have we had a basketball game at the White House or MLB?
They do have a court built by Obama.
Yeah, that's true. But this is the only sport hosted at the White House.
I also think it's kind of convenience of like just the set. Like, could you imagine them parking a football field?
You could put a tennis court.
They have tennis courts.
You could put racquetball
on them.
Yeah, I mean, but you get what I mean. It's like this has the lines between the White House, Trump, Dana White, Joe Rogan, the government. It's all been a lot more blurred than it's ever been before.
It's either all blurred or just a perfect storm at the right time. And it could be a combination of the both.
Sure. Ricky, any other thoughts with the whole Joe Rogan thing? I want to close out this Burchett stuff.
No. Yeah. Once the media switched on Joe, he went downhill right there because he had no side to go to other than Trump's side. He was stuck in a corner. He ain't do nothing wrong. He was just giving his opinion, felt attacking, And the MMA stuff, I think he generally loved MMA, and he just didn't bring UFC fighters on. He brought other people surrounding MMA, the refs and other shit, like others, people that's surrounding MMA. It was good in the beginning, but as I said,
I agree.
Eddie Bravo, your boy, natural. Eddie Bravo, your boy, back in the day.
He's got a grudge. But who has a bigger grudge against McGregor? Dana White.
Actually, no, Dana loves Conor.
He definitely speaks highly of Conor.
Dana hates John Jones.
He does hate John Jones. And I think he's had John Jones on his show.
I think Joe has. On Rogan. Yes.
I think he has.
John Jones, Francis.
I just don't think Conor should go on.
Rogan. What's that?
I just don't think Conor should go on Rogan.
Yeah, I agree. Well, it would be fun.
Oh, I mean, yeah, it's
getting that dude to talk for 3 hours would be fun.
Yeah,
but again, it's not as fun as it would have been in 2018.
Oh no, and I think now too, it's like time's passed. I agree with that. 10 years ago, sure. Now, I mean, shit, Conor's a billionaire too on his own.
Exactly. So I want to kind of close out the Tim Burchett topic. So, representative from Tennessee goes on Joe Rogan's podcast. Again, that's what gets me to watch it, because I think Burchett is, like Massey, one of the only few people fighting for us still. But if there's one major takeaway from that podcast, is that Burchett gets something that Thomas Massey refused to become, which is to remain, you have to kiss the ring.
You have to play ball.
Not even that. You have to suck Trump's B. Like, it's one of those, like, you can't even tiptoe around it.
Right.
Lauren Boebert's time is coming soon. And that's because she won't. And Burchett is willing to, he criticizes the hell out of the agencies, the lobbyist state, other representatives, the government, even this administration. But it always comes back to how much hope Trump gives us. And he really, really is a talking piece for bolstering up Trump. So that, I think, was the biggest takeaway here, the biggest disappointment of the situation, is while he's a guy sounding the alarm, he's also a guy who sounds the alarm only to a certain extent. He has his limitations. And what makes Thomas Massey such a threat is there are no limitations. I'm just here for the truth. So, 2 more clips of Burchett on the episode here. In past episodes, we reported about the missing scientists. And if there is one great silver lining to still having the Joe Rogan podcast, it's getting some of these vulnerable moments where we get into the weeds of what real people think about and talk about. And watching Joe Rogan kind of open that door with somebody sitting in Congress as we're all kind of looking around going, is something fishy going on? Then he states the obvious. I mean, this is a healthy thing for the discourse.
About the missing scientists and scientists that have turned up dead and been killed.
100%. That's real. I think I have a theory on that. All right. I know it's a little dangerous to throw these things out, but I was on maybe Fox one time and I just came up with this. I say your family's mobbed up, okay, and y'all own a nice Italian restaurant and it's world renowned and you're busting at the seams, and you're franchising and putting out cookbooks and everything. You got this one chef who's the kingpin of all of it, but you're afraid he's talking to your competitors. Now, you don't bump him off. What you do is you rough up a few of the bus boys, and that sends a quick dadgum message that you need to shut your mouth. And timing is everything, and nothing happens by accident in Washington, D.C. To me, I think the timing is it's uncanny. You got a president, we had these hearings in Washington. You have a president that says he's going to release stuff, and all in that same time frame, before and after that, you're having some of these high-ranking officials disappear. And to me, that's nobody disappears in this country unless they want to disappear. There's cameras everywhere, and to me, it's just it reeks of a deep state sewer.
Yeah, I thought one of the things that I thought of is one of the subjects that these people they're all working on different things, but they're working on alternative energy sources.
Yeah, that's the I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay.
But that's what ties them together. I think.
Very interesting, kind of saying it without saying it, but also directly addressing it's a mob situation. And yeah, this isn't something mysterious where these scientists are just falling, dropping like flies. It's a classic mob tactic. And if you really want to convince the person in charge of the lab or the scientific study, the project, to start roughing up some of the underlings, and that gets people in line right away. So it's interesting hearing somebody in such an influential position and as close as it gets to this topic as we try to dissect and figure out what's going on, because as Brichette's fighting for disclosure, we're getting none of it. And the scientists, the experts at the center of it all have just been dropping like flies. And so when somebody, the closest to that, sitting in the committee meetings, seeing the evidence, going to these classified sites saying, yeah, it's roughing up the underlings so the secret remains secret. Is there anything more that could be said? Last clip from this podcast that I thought was noteworthy. He suggests, I think it was a couple episodes ago, we reported about all of these peculiarities surrounding the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And boy, we barely scratched the surface. There's even more. Every day I'm learning more. I'm like, of course. I just keep learning more. You're like, yeah.
It's crazy how many of these incidences, since the administration has taken over, more and more footage comes out from every single one of them.
The one that blew my mind, that John Karuku, he's like an ex-CIA agent.
Yeah, he's on a tour right now.
Yeah, he's on a tour right now because he just got out of jail. His claim to fame is that he was one of the whistleblowers at Abu Ghraib when we were doing very illegal torture techniques on prisoners of war. He whistleblew, and even though what the government was doing, just like Snowden, was illegal as shit, he went to jail for disclosing it. It's like, it was illegal, but you can't tell people, so that's the crime. So he goes to jail, he gets out of jail, and now there is one true reality to this, which is once you're a CIA agent, you're never not a CIA agent.
What are they letting you say?
Exactly. Or what part are you playing now?
Right.
To me, he's playing controlled opposition. I found it very peculiar. Who's our little favorite YouTube troll that he talks like this and this is
Sorry.
No, the little kid that's like
Matan.
So John Kukuko.
He was on him.
Yeah.
Get out.
And I was like, click. As soon as I saw that, I was like, I don't even watch Matan, but I was like, that's one that I'd watch. And what makes this John Kukuko so like such the perfect psyop, the greatest internet personality, is because that dude, he was perfect for Matan. Like, Matan's a great podcast because you see people for who they are. They either can roll with the punches or they're broken by the situation. And watching somebody you appreciate or are a fan of or dislike crumble under like just a human interaction.
Perfect rage baiter.
Oh my God, it's incredible. And people literally just snap. They can't handle it. And then you've got people that are perfect riffers about anything. That's what he is. And you see it. You're like, oh, that's why they love you. That's why you're the asset.
Your personality.
So,
as well as probably an intelligent individual.
Incredibly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
And so it's very peculiar when that guy's on Matan's podcast and he goes, yeah, I was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. And I'm like, wait, what? Yeah, sit in that for a second.
Why wasn't I there?
Sounds like everybody's there. Dana White. He did. Why were you there?
He was the guy that was just eating the food while it was all going on.
Dude, you know it was. You know he was pulling wine bottles off the table like people were complaining. Oh, yeah, he poured him a glass. He knew the script. He's like, don't worry, they get him at the metal detectors. He doesn't even get up here. And he just starts.
Trust me, I'm allowed to say what I want.
But then you got Erica Kirk going, I want to be home, but I only went so I could look the mean. I only went so I could look the mean media in the eyes and directly address them for all the things they've said about. Why would you say I'm peculiar? Anyway.
Listen, before you get into your point, I want to pose a bit for you in the future. Can you please put on a blonde wig and black eyeshadow and do that at some point?
Oh, that'd be great.
I
think I might do a podcast.
I'm just saying, I think you'd be good at it.
That might be my Halloween.
Yes.
And then, Ricky, it's not racist.
No.
You have that Hillary
Whites making fun of whites is a good
keep
time.
You have to keep the mustache though.
Just fun having
No, but Alex, you already
mustache
have
stays.
the mustache stays.
And you need the black polo to the neck, button up to the neck.
And, dude.
Or a
It'll be a black
turtleneck.
wig with a black hat,
No,
too.
Alex, you already got the Hillary Clinton wig. You're set.
Oh, no, you need
no,
longer
you need
hair.
this.
Not just some bob.
No.
You need.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but the whole time you're doing that, I was like, man, if you just have black eyeshadow, you look pretty scary right now.
Exactly. So there's been I live by that. So there were a lot of peculiarities surrounding this dinner.
Right.
What was John doing there? Who knows? But
what were you doing?
I got questions because I thought you were a good guy. Like, I don't know if you've seen him. I like the hair on girls, like long, frizzy, curly hair. But there's like a skinny Hawaiian guy that also is an ex-CIA agent that goes on podcasts and talks about, CIA stuff, disclosure. The two of them had a debate, and I thought John's one of us. He's a good guy because where the rubber met the road, like that debate boiled down to if there were government secrets that the public needed to know for the sake of safety or they're owed it, would you tell them? And John's like, I did. That's what I do. And then the Hawaiian guy's like, you can't do that. Your allegiance, you wouldn't have that information if you weren't a part of the agency. And the success of the agency is the success of the people. So you need to have loyalty to the agency before the people. And John says, no.
Clearly, I served.
And I watched that debate and I was like, he's got my vote. That's my guy. And then he was like, I was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner mingling with the good folks. And I'm like, I thought you went to jail because you're on the outside.
They allow felons?
Yeah, dude, literally, he's a felon. Cannot vote, cannot own a gun. But he was at the White House Correspondents' Dinner. Anyway, peculiar things. Here's Tim Burchett saying, the guy was programmed.
He was trying to kill the president.
The guy's been programmed to do this. He immediately turns, from one way to the other overnight almost. And this is
MK Ultra.
We're seeing this more and more, I think.
What do you mean the guy's been programmed?
I think these people are...
you mean like MK Ultra type programming?
100%.
Really?
I think so, but it's a different... MK, you're the expert on it.
I'm not really.
Well,
don't say that.
No, I don't want to get you bumped off
Jamie
here.
knows more than I do about it.
Let somebody else go start your car when you walk out there and wait 30 minutes. But yeah,
I know nothing.
But the CIA, they were grabbing these people up and giving them, I guess, acid or LSD, whatever, and then programming them, and then
Joe, don't you remember back in 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's all you talked about. The Haight-Ashbury stuff. Man, that's crazy. You forgot about that.
You probably brought it up too, thinking, man, this would be fun to talk about.
Yeah, I just wish I could. Yeah.
Bro, just breeze by that.
You can tell by where the time this guy's from by his softest reference of murder. Go start
right.
The whole mob.
Then they said they weren't doing it, and then they got sued, and they said, "Oh, we lied. We were doing it, but we're not doing it anymore." Now, which time are they not? Here's my thought on this. I think you've got a bunch of people today because of this. You should open up your head and pour it in, and they can put these things out to people just enough to where they know that there's going to be a reaction. There's some people, you and I are going to read this stuff and go, and there's some people that are just going to stay awake at night and just fume. I know people that read stuff and they'll call me and text me and said, "Can you believe this?" And I'm like, "Dude, man, I live this stuff. Cool out. We're good. We're okay." And I think that these folks, they know who they are and they can target them. How many of these people are we going to find that have no internet access, have no history of being on the internet?
Right. Like Thomas Crooks.
Yeah. That's just total BS. Total BS. Oh, we let him on the roof and and then
they couldn't get snipers on that roof because the slope was too steep.
Yeah.
Dude, they go on. Just none of it's believable. And as long as he goes, but that Donald Trump, he's giving it his doggone best. He's a good guy. They're like, all right, keep him around. He's saying a little too much, but he likes me.
Maybe he's so perfect. He just like the code word. What is it? The Russian operatives, like that code word you'd say to activate them.
Right.
Like the code word. Sleeper. He's like a sleeper Trump agent, but he just knows to say, "I love him." And he's keep him around.
Keep him around.
He'll say everything wrong and just say that. Trump's like, man, he got me.
I like this guy.
He's got my vote.
So Burchett goes on the show, takes all this time because his main focus across all the podcasts right now is to discuss UFOs. Yes. We've got a UFO committee. We're pushing the agencies and we're voting to disclose the information. When you're on this committee, you're amongst the few congresspersons that get full exposure. Your classification is heightened and you get to see the secrets. And yet, if you say a word about it, your car drives into a tree. So none of them say a word about it. They just keep going, "Please let me tell people." And they're like, "Nah." And they're like, every time they get in a microphone, they put it in, "I want to tell you things real bad. Please let me tell them." And they're like, "No, you can't tell them." So Burchett and the gang, they vote. And that's what he's getting excited about. He's on show and he's like, "Well, doggone it, I'm telling you, this week we're going to get it done. There's so many of us and it's so big. And I keep talking to big old Trump. He's such a big, hands are huge. His hands are huge. And I keep talking to him. And he's ready. We're about this close to disclose. We're getting there. And this week we're voting. And we're psyched you're getting the information." And then he comes out of the committee with this.
Denied access to the SCIF. And so, to my knowledge, what's going to happen now is not only do we have the support of the chairman, but they're going to get a nice letter from Congress. And as you heard, Representative Ogle said, if we're denied, we're going to use the Holman rule.
He's trying. He's holding it.
And I was told by leadership that it was blocked by the intelligence community, not the intelligence committee, but the intelligence community. And that is a very chilling effect. If someone can reach through the veil of government and pierce it to the point of we do not have access to something. You got to start asking yourself who the hell's in control.
Dude, even
and I think it'd be wise for you all to start looking at some financial disclosures of some of those corporations, some of the people who do the stonewalling in this town. And that's what we're going to start doing. We're going to start talking to people. We're going to start naming names. I want you to think about this. Think about this, that something with the capabilities of traveling light years, not showing a heat signature, and the energy capabilities of that That would put the Pentagon out of business. We wouldn't be fighting these worthless wars overseas over oil, and American boys and girls wouldn't be dying. It would put the war pigs out of business, and they'd have to go somewhere else. And I'm all for that. I'm all for that.
They cut the camera right before he said, "I love Donald Trump."
What do you got for us, Dougie?
Real quick, I just thought you'd want to know an update. Thomas Massey has officially lost his primary.
No.
Yeah, they called it.
Well,
what I was looking at, they called it. He got 55. The opponent got 55%. Thomas Massey 45.
Here, I was really thinking you were raising your hand to discuss at all what we were talking about. So I appreciate the update.
I just thought you'd
I know, you're good. You're good. Thank you. So just one sentence to close out the Burchett thing, because literally what's next is Thomas Massey. So kind of segue, but I still got to finish my point, Doug.
I'm sorry. I just thought you'd want that.
You're very right.
Thomas Massey, I thought you'd want the update. I'm sorry. All right. I'm sorry.
Double down some more. Clearly your ears aren't working and they're not connected to your brain. So keep going.
Doug, I forgive you.
That being said, Tim Burchett is probably the closest as far as representatives trying to sound the alarm, besides Lauren Boebert, who's definitely going to get her ass ripped out of here soon. I'm bringing her up again because now let's transit, because Doug's in a hurry. We got to get to it. We're just going to jump right into Thomas Massey, and he brings up some points about her too, so that's noteworthy. Kudos to Tim Burchett. Do we really care about the UFO situation? Like, I don't think people give a shit, because the reality is we all know it's a distraction from things that truly matter. And I can't stop it. If you were to tell me there's a giant mothership coming, I'm like, yeah, but the PDF files are taking my money.
Yeah,
I don't care about a mothership that can vaporize me right now. All I could worry about is the tax thieves.
It's a twofold problem, because yes, it's complete distraction. It came out. This all started coming out after the whole Iran situation escalated. 2, people will care more if the issues that you mentioned, and it's one of those things, if it ever happens, what are we going to do?
There's nothing. But when I know that there's an island, like literally YouTubers have gone to the damn island, that put me with organic people like me on this floating rock. That's something I could work with.
Yes.
Super demon space powers. I got nothing.
It just isn't one of those things where it sounds like they've been here. All I'm getting from it is like, all right, they've been here. Are they here right now? Can I talk to them right now?
Are the aliens here right now with us?
Yes. So it's kind of one of the, I appreciate the work he's doing, because he seems like a real straight shooter about it. But then every other week, it's not the intelligence committee. It's that now it's the community. It's like, oh, there's more. There's branches. We're getting the branches of blockades here.
The secret government stopped it, is what he's telling you.
Have you guys ever seen, it was an old TV series and they rebooted in like 2014 called V. And it's lizard people who come to Earth and they disguise themselves as humans and live among us and feed on humans. And it's like, we're talking about lizards and space aliens and UFO things. It's like, dude, it's all connected. The lizard people are real. And I think television had it right back in the 80s, and they tried to reacquaint us to it back in the 2010s.
Well, like you said, Doug, they're telling you a vision.
No, Alex, how many times have you told us Hollywood is trying to get us ready for this shit?
Yeah, you're right.
It is ironic. There is a Steven Spielberg movie coming out in like 2 weeks called Disclosure Day about first contact.
Yeah.
So it is kind of.
But I love that here at the Rethink Tank, we've already worked that whole thing out. Barack Obama tweets and goes, I'd like to put my hat in the ring. If we get contacted, I should be the representative. And we're all like, no, it's Theo Vaughn.
Yeah. Actually, no. Give him our alien.
Give him our alien.
They have too much dirt on him.
Do you know that a rat king is just a giant pile of rats that the tails get all crazy? Crazy. Exactly. Have the rat king represent us.
Yeah.
Instead of the rat.
Yeah.
A random.
They probably come down and be like, oh, we saw you as a player. No, thank you.
So they gonna load up one of these spacecraft with something and drop it somewhere, boom, and blame it on them. Blame it on the space.
They're gonna blame it on Thomas Massey.
Personally, I like to think First Contact will be like Star Trek, where it's a peaceful race and they want to give us technology. That's my hope.
Oh, well, I want to piggyback off of that. What I do think disclosure is going to be is they're going to be like, listen, you've had alien technology this whole time. It's your iPhone. Okay, and then we're going to be like, you had me.
Alex,
you had me.
Right.
Yeah. I thought it was Steve. This whole time I thought it was Steve.
I love my sci-fi. So, like, you are basically describing the Stargate universe where we've had access to alien technology. We've incorporated into our lives, but we don't know it because the military is keeping the fact that we have alien relations secret.
Bingo. Coming full circle.
Stargate.
That's why Joe Rogan doesn't talk about DMT anymore, because it gives away the truth that we got this tech from the Clockwork Elves in the spiritual realm.
Yeah, why not?
Everyone should watch Stargate and Star Trek. You're welcome.
Didn't you just say this show to stop bringing up TV shows?
I might have, but remember when I said his ears were unplugged from his brain? That was also the same episode.
My life has revolved around television, and damn it if Hollywood hasn't got me ready to accept an alien overlord.
Some of us are bred to be led.
What's the segue there?
Thomas Massey.
There we go.
The man who won't be led and, well, is actually being escorted right out of Congress.
Well, actually, you will be led out the door.
Led out the door. I really hope, though, dude,
independent.
That'd be cool. That'd be cool. I still think he loses.
I jumped the gun,
but you know what I really would like to see is the last bit of his tenure in Congress. He just goes blaze earth. Just spills the beans.
Yeah, why not?
Spill the beans. Any beans in those pockets, spill them.
They already got your wife. Like, they're coming for you.
Dude, speaking of wives, you know, I was really hoping the comedic transition to this next clip would be, ha, ha, ha. You wouldn't need the concession line, you know, the phone line you call to concede your race. But he will. So I guess it's a good thing he has this phone number. But his comment from Kentucky with his very beautiful wife standing next to him, the comments they discuss, you know what, I just need to acknowledge, I don't like my arm here with those bourbon bottles. You know, we're trying to Kentuckyize the studio today. And if you see the light coming through, it makes it look like I have very weird Joe Rogan hairy gorilla arms.
I was going to say that. Or
every
like
time I move, I'm like, I'm Greek, but I'm not that Greek. I mean,
if you hadn't said anything, I wouldn't have noticed, to be honest with you. I'm looking at a screen the entire time here. I wouldn't have noticed until you said anything.
Well, it's because I can't stop noticing. I watch my arm move and I'm like, oh, thank God I'm not like that.
It's way noticeable more on that arm than the arm away.
Yeah. Right. Oh, yeah.
Now that I'm looking at it, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, getting to the segue here, Thomas Massey holding his little campaign rally in Kentucky. When we were reporting Thomas Massey just a few months ago, I was able to have the pleasure of reporting the Rethink Tank from this location. It's the headquarters for his campaign. And he had a pretty funny joke about the phone line that was given to him when it was time for him to make his concession on his campaign race. So getting to that here.
Is that like customary or was that...
Come on.
Cannot wait for May 19th. It's going to be so great. You know, just in case I lose, they gave me the number to call to concede. The area code is Tel Aviv, though.
The area code was Tel Aviv. Why would you call the opposing Kentucky rep in Tel Aviv? Oh, unless he was getting $20 million from said God's chosen people. Well, unfortunately, he didn't come out victorious today as Doug jumped the gun. But that all being said, we're going to take this might be one of our final opportunities to really celebrate this moment in time and a representative that represented more than just Kentuckians. So one thing I want to kick it off with, here was dumbass Trump's comments regarding Thomas Massie, and there's a lot of irony packed into this.
Thomas Massie's a terrible congressman.
Terrible.
Against, men playing in women.
He's against men playing in women's sports.
He voted against transgender for everybody. The mutilization of your children.
The mutilization of your children. He's against it. Crazy.
He voted against, again, open borders.
He voted against open borders. Wait, asshole, did you forget you tried to build half a wall and gave up? You know, one thing I was thinking about a lot earlier this week, not knowing this was something we were going to talk about, is like how like fish-brained his supporters are. That he didn't. Had he finished that border, Biden would not have been able to bring in a mysterious number of millions of illegals into the country. He failed to do what he ran on the first time, completely abandoned it the second time, and if anything, has gone the opposite way. Are you locking down the border so more can't get in? No, I'm grabbing American citizens and throwing them in cages. What you were accused of the first time and didn't do, but we're like, hey, it sounded fun. I'm going to do it this go around. So
that's the power of a lame duck, Alex.
I mean, it is true.
Worry about. There's no repercussions, lame duck.
And the sickest part of all, Doug, is watching a guy criticize someone of the same party for voting along the policy lines he ran on. Yeah. And yet the same mouse-brained boomers continue to support him, where they'll come out in droves to vote against Thomas Massie. Wait, why? He supported exactly what you voted for in 2020. That's so
I'm curious.
weird.
I'm curious what the age demographic are.
So what?
So the majority were older.
So Trump is pushing for male and women's sports now? Like, what's
exactly.
What's going on?
Well, I think his mouth got farther than his brain.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he was realizing.
Like usual.
Yeah, exactly. Bingo.
Made a career out of it.
Yeah,
Why
made a career out of it. Why stop now? You're right. Unfortunately, you're right. So I want to, it is funny. Trump will wage war against the few that stand against you, as these are the kind of people, these are the Republicans he likes. What makes Thomas Massie, as he puts in all bold on tweets, the worst congressman of all time? Not because he votes against the party and the people's policies, but because he votes against Trump and his donors. So for those that play ball that Trump is willing to defend, like John Husted, there's him getting called out for taking over $100,000 of campaign funds from Epstein conspirators.
New ad out today. So we're done. Lex. Can you explain the relationship with Lex, actually? Because he did contribute a lot to your campaign.
Tell us about Les Wexner.
Can you talk about that at all?
And then we're going to sit there, act shocked, and play dumb when Ohio is going to lose to the Democrats.
I always like it when they just immediately get asked a question and just start walking away.
Dude, I got a better one.
Real quick, what's sad is that the Republicans might lose to freaking Amy Acton, too, of all people.
Right, exactly.
If we're lucky, people realize neither candidate are good. But sadly, there's nothing.
Dude, you know what I keep thinking about is that's the blue button, red button. Like, we're back to that. Nobody, like, you're never going to get the masses to have logic. Right. Like, you got the fact that whole premise needs to assume that people can't read. People are dumb. People are inevitably going to push the blue button. And it's like, same thing goes here. Inevitably, you're going to have people that just are drones. They're zombies. Anyway, of the Republicans that represent you, that Trump looks at as part of the team, some of them do a greater job than others at putting on advocacy for term limits or taking them behind a shed and putting them out because, well, tell us about the rabbits, Lenny. Here's Mitch McConnell, who's one of the good guys of the Republican Party.
The vote is about over. The secretary has to get with the president on the China trip. I'm going to ask Senator Murkowski to wrap up. And thank you all for being here.
Baldwin, Shaheen, and Kennedy. Baldwin, Shaheen, and Kennedy still have questions. Wrap up after.
Hold here.
It's a Roomba.
Yeah. Obviously,
Look at those
there's not
hands.
a whole lot of time for a second round, so we'll get through everybody. And Senator Murkowski, I appreciate your taking over.
Thank you. Secretary Hegseth, Chairman Kane, thank you for being here today. Today is the first time either of you are...
And somebody else had to take over for him. Are you boomers awake? This isn't an insult to your intellect? This is allowed to you? This is okay.
Alex, this is why everybody in our age group believes people his age need to take a driving test before getting their license renewed.
Exactly. And what's the test for, I don't know, representing a district of 10 million people? Is that different?
A 6-point turn.
I mean, it's literally Austin Powers where he's stuck in the hallway like perpendicularly and he's just
yeah, if you find yourself in that situation, you can't represent us.
Yeah.
Or drive.
No, dude, this is like when Ted Cruz first came into Congress 7-8 years ago and was like, hey, we should have term limits. That conversation is different than this. This is like theft, criminality, this is
Alex, let's be honest.
Murder of democracy.
There should be like
you could be 50 years old, fit body, you look good, your mind's not good.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's competency more than term limit or age limit. It's you have to be competent to do this.
The problem is this guy is physically limited. I think his brain tissue is also part of the physical effect here.
I mean, didn't he have like a stroke standing up within the last year?
Dude, there was an interview. There was somebody trying to press him in like the hallway of the Capitol, and he just collapsed. Yeah. And it's just like, wait.
Let me play.
Man needs to go back in his shell.
Let me play a little devil's advocate here. What if you faked it? What if he just knew he could?
Guy knows he knows his playbook.
You know what I mean? Like that's part of the playbook.
Mitch McConnell, why'd you steal $10 million?
You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
It worked.
You gotta play
the
your
guy's
part.
He's still in the committees.
I could totally see Trump doing that.
Oh, it's gonna start. No, I really don't think his ego would allow that.
No, because let's be honest, if that happened, there will be enough of Congress that will want to enact the 25th Amendment. And have
just look at the last guy. We're chomping at the bit for the
last guy.
No,
but let's be honest. I think enough Republicans would probably back it. If he tried to play that card, enough Republicans might back JD.
They might back it.
I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong, guys. Tell me I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
Yeah.
You think they'd all stay true to Trump if he played the insanity?
I think there's
you told me to say it.
I think there's a lot of people still staying true to Trump, dude. That's the problem.
If he tries to play the insanity card, I think enough support would come JD's way.
So with all that being said, you're seeing the true Republicans that Trump's willing to protect. But let me show you why Thomas Massie isn't one of them. Just a couple clips here. I got two. Okay, I actually got three of them. Here is Massie on a recent podcast calling out RFK Jr., where the both of them shared a lot of policies and they were kind of working with each other in protecting farms, protecting the food chain. And it is ironic that RFK Jr.'s entire career wrote books about it, is at war over Fauci over it, and he's built this whole persona as being anti-vax. And yet Thomas Massie points out a very key point where he's got the power to make that effect. Like he can do it right now. So start asking yourself why he's not.
SD right now, Thomas Massie, because this whole hantavirus thing now is ramping up. It's everywhere. It's all over the headlines. And it feels exactly like 2020, when they ramped up the coronavirus and had all the headlines. And what freaks me out is that everything that they did to us, every part of the infrastructure that they used to lock us down and coerce, jab us, and do all these horrible things is still in place. Every bit of it, despite electing Trump, despite even RFK. I mean, RFK, by the way, as head of HHS, could unilaterally just end the emergency authorization. He can do it. And I guess my question is, like, how do we move? How do we
do it? He could and should do it, but as soon as he ends that, he probably ends his own job. So
it's true.
Yeah, they would. Somebody, Susie Wiles, would probably go in there and yank him out.
Oh yes, she would. Oh yes, she would.
So
but what do we
I
need to do from the outside? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate the constraints that are on him. By the way, don't forget they tried to bring out the bird flu. They've tried to bring out monkeypox. They tried to bring out murder hornets. They're looking for any opportunity to scare you. And if any of these things catches hold, and then what's the RSV, right? There was a pandemic of RSV, et cetera, et cetera. They would just love to use this PrEP Act to kick in some more immunity and some more things. And now it's the hantavirus. I saw a meme. I love memes, by the way.
Me too.
Because the left can't meme. And then also the goons who are coming after me can't meme either. I don't know if you would call them leftists or whatever, but they're mostly foreign lobbyists.
No sense of humor whatsoever. None.
They're very crude, though. But anyways, I saw a meme today that said AIPAC was suggesting mail-in ballots in Kentucky's 4th district primary race due to the hantavirus.
Of course.
So I just like the point where he's like, RFK could totally make a quick question before we get into that, though. Has she interviewed Mike Vrabel before?
No, I don't think this one did, but I see a striking similarity.
Oh, okay. I was just
striking similarity.
I was just curious.
I see what
she's got some features.
I'm picking up what you're putting down, man.
Could have been.
Could have. Can I ask a question though before you finish your point? Since last week, was it last week you talked about the hantavirus, or was it the week before?
2 weeks.
2 weeks ago. I've barely seen that.
Yeah, it was just enough to distract us. Okay. What did I call it? I called it cruise ship chaos, because it's just so ironic that this little display and show happened at the same time as 14 Disney cruise members being caught up in sexually promiscuous scandals with kids.
Yeah, all of a sudden.
And that wasn't a purported. So if you Googled cruise ship, what did you get? Not Disney. And then it just went away, like you said.
I was thinking of that. I was like, man, I haven't seen anybody tweeting about that lately.
But I do like how God's shows and people are like, that cruise ship on the other side of the rock, mail-in ballots again. And they're like, no. And they're like, all right, well, we're still going to do it.
No. Well, thanks for listening.
Well, actually, we've already got 20,000 on the way.
You're like, oh, wait, they said no.
Oh. No is it's not even a suggestion to those people. No is just like a slow down, the yellow slow down signs.
It's just a yellow light.
When the speed limit's 50 and you got the sign that says we suggest you go 35, and you're like, buzz off, bitch. I'm in a Challenger and this turn's fine.
Buzz off, I'm Paul Walker.
That's God's chosen people when they're like, hey, you're actually not allowed to do that. They're like, I slow down for nobody.
Yeah, Alex, I bet in a higher SUV though, you gotta.
I do. The Bronco does not have the thanks. So keeping it moving, Thomas Massey was also on Tucker Carlson recently, and it was a great interview. Good times that were had. But one of the interesting parts, especially as now he's going to be phased out of this political role, he brings up to Tucker how the R's and the D's are all on one same side, and it's against you.
You have one of the most liberal Democrats in the House, Jamie Raskin of Maryland. You have one of the most conservative Republicans in the House, Jim Jordan of Ohio. But they're on the same side on spying on Americans?
For at least 45 days, they're on the same side.
Well, how could Jim Jordan, this ferociously conservative freedom guy,
acting shocked,
be in favor of...
Dude, can we just take a minute and go acknowledge, like, SNL has killed it with their Tucker Carlson impression.
Yes.
Like can you believe that somebody like Jim Jordan, who is he not the most conservative, vicious man and he's voting with Republican. I can't even, or he's voting with the Democrats. I can't even do it as well as they are. Yeah. And it's like Tucker's more in SNL than ever because they've got this one guy that nails it. Yes. I had to make that acknowledgement.
Who it is.
It's some new guy, but the clips are great. Like he's doing such a good job. And part of it, you want to look at, like, I've always wondered that. Like if you had 50 million people that knew who you were, 100,000 people are watching this every night.
Yes.
You become a public figure. What would the impression, like I've wondered, what would the impression of me look like?
Right, like the public persona rather
exactly.
than...
How do you cartoonize me?
Yes.
And so you look at Tucker and it's like, is that natural? And somebody's just jesting?
He's just playing a bit.
Or are you the jester and that's what makes it able to be characterized?
Right.
It's a curious thing, especially when they're all some compromised stage. What do you got for me, Ricky? Are you gonna show it or before
you froze?
Remove other me. Okay, there you go.
I don't know. He came too early.
Oh, of course.
It sits back like him too.
That's the guy.
I gotta say, ever since they got humbled with like your liberal propaganda machine isn't working anymore, and they had to pivot back to comedy, low key, it's been kind of good.
Yeah, I mean,
it's been kind of good again.
Yeah,
they've been hitting.
They've been hitting it, dude.
Isn't that what everybody asks though? Is like, get away from that hardcore.
Get away from the politics and make me laugh again.
Yeah.
And they started doing that.
And if you're gonna
not even just political, like political isn't bad. They just lead too hard into every segment.
Well, and I think what plays in their favor is I don't necessarily believe they've gotten entirely away from their bias. It's just that this administration's characters are so severely like cartoonish. Like when Aziz Ansari can come on and make fun of Kash Patel. When what's his face that you just showed from the night their nighttime news, the weekend update. The whatever his name is, Pete, whatever, who's married to Scarlett Johansson, that guy we just showed. You've got him playing Pete Hegseth. You've got like there's so many characters that even the Republicans themselves know. Let's laugh at them. There's things to be there. The door is open to laugh at.
It's easy to punch down on both sides.
Yes.
And
well, even now, I don't think there's anybody on the left they're punching down on, but it's because there's no one to do that with. Whereas, give it 6 more months. And when they have the House majority, and now we've got a different Speaker of the House, when the whole thing shifts again, then, let's see if they're willing to play both sides again. I don't know about that, but
because it's like I'm thinking in my head, it's like who would you punch down on the left right now, like AOC? And it's almost like she's not even cartoonishly funny. She's just more like, oh, okay,
right.
This isn't like Hegseth, Aziz as Kash Patel. I mean, that's a pitch.
That was so perfect.
Cast. Like that's a perfect casting. You could easily nail the mannerisms.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. So they've been doing a great job. But yes, as we'll acknowledge, Tucker talks funny.
Americans without a warrant.
Well, the president told
on Americans without free.
Back to his inquiry.
It's not even that.
Well, how could
it's like Tucker, these things too, and you ask these questions, and I get why, because he wants to promote the conversation and kind of move it along too. But
well, let's be real. How many times do you guys make a dumb reference to a TV show I've seen? I ask you why, because we're talking where at least 100% of the people have not seen the show, which makes it a difficult reference, which means now I got to make you guys explain it. So that's what he's doing is he knows, but he's also trying to report. So I need it to be laid out for the public because I already know it all, but they need to be spoon-fed.
Jim Jordan, this ferociously conservative freedom guy, be in favor of spying on Americans without a warrant?
Goofy.
Well, the president told him to.
Yeah, but that's like a core. That's a core.
It's always
issue.
been a core.
Then Tim Burchett. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a little goofy. Could do things better, but he's a good guy and does good things. Big guy. Big guy. SpongeBob. He's a good guy. Okay.
Core issue of his, and in the debate
of his specifically.
Correct. It was a condition of being on the Judiciary Committee when I joined. Like, you had to believe that we needed warrants on FISA, or you couldn't be on the Judiciary Committee that he chaired. That was like the first interview question when you applied for Judiciary.
That the Constitution's still real.
Right. And particularly with FISA 702, this particular program. And he battled last Congress ferociously to get warrants. And it came down to a tie vote where Mike Johnson was the deciding vote. And I don't know why, again, because Biden was president. But enough Republicans voted to let Biden have the power to spy on Americans without a warrant.
Because a lot of that information, that intelligence, that's spying on Americans goes directly to Israel. Like, fact.
Absolutely.
Right. So that's what this is really about, is do we allow a foreign country to spy? Does our government make it easier for a foreign country to spy on Americans? It's like the ultimate betrayal.
Another fact, when X decided to show you where accounts were based, where they were set up and where they were operated from, the DHS account showed Israel, that it was set up. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security's X account was set up using an IP address from Israel, using an Android app purchased in Israel. And that doesn't trouble people. Like, there should be an investigation over why, when the DHS set up its Twitter account, it was set up in Israel. Now, they claim, if you ask Brock about this, he'll walk around the bush with you.
Oh, of course.
I just love Elon. For those that don't recall this moment, Elon Musk goes transparency. I want you to know what's bots, and when you're talking to real Americans, what we're going to do is disclose the location of every account. And they do it. And then the Homeland Security Twitter account is coming from Tel Aviv. And they were like, all right, we're going to hide that real quick. That one's peculiar.
A little, yeah.
That might explain one or two of the $20 million paid against Thomas Massey.
I don't like to believe in coincidences,
but that being said, I want to put a little pin before we pivot the rest of this Thomas Massey dialogue. We got one third. We got one little chunk left, and we're going to get right through it. But Ricky, I do want to take a little pause in the dialogue. Get your thoughts on some stuff. Can you believe the Cavs are winning right now? So it's 74-62 as the show's been going on. You know, we're coming to you from Cleveland, Ohio. So of course we've got the Cavs game in the background. But there was a very peculiar thing that came from this weekend, and I'm curious if any of you guys caught this. We had the finals of the game series where the Cleveland Cavaliers were playing the Detroit Pistons in Game 7, and yet, ironically, before the game kicked off, there was this advertisement for the first game against the Knicks. I don't know, peculiar. Let me know what you think. Oh, Ricky, you're messing it up. So here's a guy recording his TV for the Pistons game and an advertisement for Sunday, 3:30. This was Game 6.
Is this before tip-off?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was before tip-off, and I loved it because it spoke it in life and whooped their ass. You couldn't even say ref interfered, the ass whooping they got. Okay?
Sure. But this doesn't make you think there's a little bit of a script?
I think they have both the shit pre-recorded, and some idiot probably
that I could believe. Now, Ricky,
I think someone messed up.
Yeah. Doug, is this someone messed up. What we're trying to evaluate here is what's the mess up. I've got hope with Ricky's point that maybe they make multiples.
They definitely had it all pre-made. And
yeah, hold on, Doug, that's super easy for a content consumer to say. All Doug does is consume the content. Never once made the content. And the bigger point I want to make here is how doggone hard it is to make a very generic graphic like that. Like, yeah, to the layman, that looks super generic. It's just 2 logos coming, but that's a lot of editing. And I kind of agree with Ricky that yes, your video editing software likely could make it easy to plug and play logos and the text. So they probably do make multiples, but I don't know. My heart says that is so much extra work across the playoffs that again, we spoke about how for every game 4 closeout, a sweep, the boardroom goes, that cost us tens of millions. So they're leaving money on the table. So there is a incentive by the millions to extend these at least a game or 2. So I'm of the impression where if that's the mindset is I have to maximize profit for the shareholders. We need to get as much money as possible. Dude, those graphics ain't cheap. You're going to be paying double just in case the other team wins in a league that we all know you're manipulating to some degree.
Oh yeah, you're going to have both ready. You're going to have a Detroit Pistons versus New York, and you're going to have a Cavaliers versus New York. You don't want to do it then and there.
But now you've got the Cleveland Cavaliers. Who'd the Knicks play?
The Hawks.
All right, so now you've got the Cleveland Cavaliers versus the Hawks. You've got the Detroit Pistons versus the Hawks. Now you've got the Knicks versus the Cavs. You've made 3. You've made 3.
You made 2 because.
No, you did. How'd you know the Hawks won?
Because they got swept like a week ago.
By the time it was played, but not by the time it was made. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. This wasn't made the day it was shown on TV. This is made in advance, probably a couple days.
It probably was made after Game 6 for both teams, for Detroit and Cleveland. That's the last 2 teams in the Eastern Conference Finals. Now, if it was the first round and that shit dropped, then I'll be like, yo, but these are the last 2. This is Game 7. It's on Sunday. We made 2-1.
It dropped. That's what made this so weird.
Because we're supposed to spank that ass.
Yeah, well, let me.
I feel you on that. So I thought it was Game 7.
All that does is confirm that
it's Game 6 because look,
us to win and we lost.
Sunday at 3:30. Game 7 was on Sunday.
So we're supposed to win
this
the
was
Friday.
made well ahead of that.
So if they were rigged, then we were supposed to win Game 6 and be ready for Sunday. Then
that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying it's rigged and that wasn't supposed to be played. That we're going to Game 7 and we'll play it after Game 7 and somebody accidentally played the promo file that's supposed to come after the fact. I'm thinking it wasn't rigged. Anyway. I just wanted to get your thoughts. Interesting thoughts.
I mean, if that was the case, I think they would have made sure LeBron at least won 1 game in a series.
Here's what I'm going to say in defense of it all. Great point. In defense of it all, though, if this thing's rigged at all, I find it very hard to believe the Cavs are winning 79-64 the first game against New York. Like, if there's a rigged favor, it's in the favor of New York. We were supposed to get walloped, and I've been monitoring it the whole show. We've been solid.
Yeah, it's been a pretty.
The past couple of years, it's been small teams in the finals, small market teams. So yeah.
But Cavs are a bigger market than people let on. Like, that's a huge viewer market. People love. We're an underdog that gets attention.
It's just
that's true. But if they could have Lakers, LA, and Boston, LA, and New York every year, they would do that shit.
You're right.
They've lost their momentum, though, the big teams.
So let's close out the Massey thing with one more clip. It's going to transition us a little bit here to the final little chunk I got for us, which is here's Thomas Massey, also on Tucker, as we mentioned, but he's talking about now another thing that makes him such a criminal against this administration, even though they ran on its disclosure. What is the classified file? It declassified the least transparent administration in history, the 45th and 47th president of the United States. That's right, Big Bird. I didn't know Muttley was in here too, but we're going to get to that. Anyway, what also makes him a bad guy is that he kind of disclosed some of this stuff to you. Talking about that experience with Tucker, he really shows the pressure that these representatives are under. And hearing a little bit about Lauren Boebert's experience will kind of make you worried. At least it made me worried.
Taking on those threats, Lauren Boebert, they took her over to the Situation Room, right? Like, this is where, if they're trying to kill or capture Osama bin Laden, this is where they are at the White House. They took her into the Situation Room and tried to whip her into taking her name off of the discharge petition.
Over Epstein.
Over Epstein, yep. And then the president vetoed a bill that would have brought water to a large portion of Colorado. It's not just about Lauren Boebert. Why are people in Colorado deprived of water? Because their representative wants to expose a sex trafficking ring.
I mean, none of this makes any sense at all.
I guess. Pretty peculiar. Now let's make that transition. One little piece, of the people that Trump is willing to defend, not these crooked, evil Thomas Massey types, but the ones that are good, the right-hand men that you need next to you in the Oval Office, like Howard Lutnick. One of the things we didn't get to talk about on the show, because we just really weren't presented an opportunity, that came about recently within the past 2 weeks, was Howard Lutnick's secret, with no cameras or recording devices present, his testimony in front of the Oversight Committee of Congress investigating the Epstein situation. They had a few questions for him. So he got to walk into the Situation Room, not literally, but the room of the committee, ready and willing, excited to press him. Here he comes in with the shit-eating grin that he never is missing, laughing at you in your face. But it was exciting that, we finally got to have one of the evil villains at the helm put under pressure and forced to kind of address what's going on. We weren't able to know. It was all secret. It's all hush-hush behind closed doors. And so in lieu of that, all we really got is the takes from the Congress people, the committee members, as they got out of the interview or out of the deposition. So first I want to go to Representative Combe. Here's his thoughts.
Secretary Lutnick's credibility undermined here for having said publicly he cut ties in 2005, and the Epstein files show that as recently as 2018, he was in email correspondence with Epstein.
What I've seen, we're going to ask him all these questions, and we'll let the American people judge.
Republican from Kentucky, mind you.
Whether the credibility was damaged or not. At the end of the day, I haven't seen wrongdoing in the email correspondence, but he wasn't 100% truthful with whether he or not he had been on the island. So we'll see, and we'll obviously release the transcripts, and everyone can see for themselves.
So the transcripts will say everything. Let me release them. Oh, wait, but they're never going to release them. What I did find even more interesting is here's Representative Suhas Subramayam, and he really went at him.
Should resign. That was absolutely mind-boggling what we just heard in the room. He was evasive, nervous, he was dishonest. He would not admit to lying, which he clearly did in the podcast. He said he was never in the room with Jeffrey Epstein ever again after the first time he met him. Yet he then admitted that he was in the room with Jeffrey Epstein. I had to ask him whether he and I were in the same room just now, because I couldn't understand his meaning of we were in the same room together. And then he said that Jeffrey Epstein was a sick man, that he would never want to be in the room with him again. Yet he was in the room with him again when he visited his island where Jeffrey Epstein raped women, underage women, and he brought his kids and his friends with him to that island when he met with Jeffrey Epstein. He said he never met with Jeffrey Epstein again socially, yet he admits that that was a social visit to his island. And so he was clearly being dishonest. He was clearly being evasive. And finally, he doesn't remember why he went to Jeffrey Epstein's island, which is also mind-boggling. He somehow
forgot.
You know what?
I forgot.
He might be my favorite liar. He just forgets everything.
remembers going to the island after pictures surfaced of him being at the island, but he doesn't remember why he went to the island. And we had the emails. That's why we found out he was at the island. This is absolutely absurd, and he should resign.
So the last clip I have from us is Ro Khanna, who's kind of at the helm of this whole thing with Thomas Massie. This is the committee coming out right as they come out of the session, and here are the thoughts fresh off the press.
Maybe to say that guy's name 5 times.
Well, now we know why that interview was not videotaped. If Donald Trump had seen the video transcript, he would have fired Howard Lutnick. It was really embarrassing. He was asked very straightforward questions about whether he regretted misleading the American people. I mean, he said that he would never see Epstein again in 2005. And everyone knows that he took his wife and kids to see Epstein in 2012. And yet it was just contortions and lies and no acknowledgement that he misled the American public. And if you saw the exchanges that my colleagues had with him, you would see he made a farce of the English language. I mean, he was trying to define I as if
it's almost like if he had survived, we'd have answers.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
You know, crazy.
What do you mean he did?
Well, unfortunately, he unalived himself.
That what he really meant is that he would not see Epstein alone, but be totally fine with having his wife and kids see Epstein. It made no sense. And then he's raised even more serious concerns about the investigation. He originally had said that Epstein engaged in blackmail and recorded videotapes. Now he's saying, well, he was wrong. He was just speculating, and Epstein actually didn't engage in blackmailing. This raises the question of what the cover-up is. Did someone tell him to say that? I've not heard that that Epstein never engaged in blackmail. Why is Howard Lutnick changing his testimony, changing his story? He's lost all credibility, and really it's a shame that the American people don't get to see what he did there.
Well, it's interesting that Ro Khanna's out here saying, you know, if Trump even saw what he did in his committee, he'd fire him. But with all those things being considered, one of the last pieces, this is my closing point on Howard Lutnick. We need, moving forward, we need to start calling this guy Mudley. That's who he is. He is the new Mudley. Laughing in your face. And if you don't know who Mudley is, for the young Gen Zers or the millennials who forgot, here's our Mudley in the White House. Yeah.
Good one, I like that.
Well, I've been doing it under my breath every show. When I make fun of him, I'm like,
yeah, no. Yeah, no.
Well, what's funny is, so now anytime you see him, when the president...
I did the laugh.
Exactly, dude. He's laughing at the worst times.
I don't know.
Trump's talking about 9/11 and how, oh, yeah. Give it a second.
Oh, he's going to do it again.
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but I...
It's like if anyone's watched One Piece.
No, stop. You already have one on the screen.
He just doesn't get it. He literally cannot get it. That being said,
One Piece Giants.
It is funny. Check out shill political talking piece. Patrick Bet David forced to really be like, yeah, he literally, you know, we're shills for the administration, but this is a little peculiar.
I'm gonna joke about. So here, I think this is it, Rob. If you want to play, yeah, watch this.
Some kind of gathering of top advisors this evening to talk about how to respond to the Epstein situation.
I don't know. I could ask you that question. I don't know of it, but
including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, less.
I don't know, guys. We're fans of Lutnick.
Big time.
We're fans of, the work that he does. But what do you look for when you play poker against somebody for 6 hours? You look for what?
A tell.
Maybe laughing is his tell.
Maybe laughing is his tell. Dude, this is Trump's handler. His Israeli handler. I made out like a bandit on 9/11.
I wish I knew the name. I wish we knew the name of the guy who does the laugh, like the actual laugh. I wonder if he's still alive.
Oh, I'm gonna trust me. My voice contortionism. I am going to be spending so much of my unconscious free time mastering that laugh just for the sake of this show.
Yeah.
Doug, that ain't it.
It's pretty close.
It's not at all.
That's too evil. That's a silly laugh.
As of right now, you do a good bruschetta. Douglas Murray.
Douglas Murray, you can't beat.
Alex Jones. You got some good ones.
I gotta get a Lutnick laugh
you got
in
some
here.
Good ones, and then you'll bring out the random like Mexican or like Italian mobster where it doesn't fit at all, but it kind of does fit. It just kind of, it's funny.
The takeaway is we're calling Lutnick Muttley from here on out.
I'm good with that. Yes.
That is who this is. Trump's handler, Muttley. Oh, I love it.
You just got to practice that in the mirror a few times.
Yeah, I'll get it. Trust me. That being said, we got through the Lutnick stuff just a little. We're on the Epstein stuff. So I just got a couple extra updates on the Epstein stuff before we totally close out today's episode.
We got to keep that going.
We
because of all
can't.
the distractions.
It's the most transparent administration of all time. They even got Big Bird. So, of course, Big Bird. Love kids. That's okay. Big Bird. Anywho, who's singing the songs? Closing things out. Did you see what was put up in New York? You had to have. Even if you don't know it off the top of mind, as soon as I say it, you're gonna go, oh yeah, I saw that. This was amazing. One of the coolest things an artist in New York did was he took the time to print off all 3 million EFTA exhibits in the Epstein files and made a museum library.
Like to have all of the released Epstein files in one place, more than 3.5 million pages printed and bound into books inside the Donald J. Trump and Jeffrey Epstein Memorial Reading.
Yeah, protesters. Soros is like, get it. Drop off the pallet of bricks.
Not to be that guy, but I wonder how long until that happens.
Not long.
DOJ didn't follow the law, right? They failed to redact names and identifying information of survivors and victims. And they did redact names of co-conspirators. So each of these is about 5 pounds. If you take all 3,437 volumes, it weighs about 17,000 pounds. So if we read for 24 hours and we cover 2 pages a minute, we will read about 3 of these books. This much, this, and this. That's 24 hours of reading. So in order to get through all of these books, we would need to read for more than a year. What we wanted to do in the middle of all of this evidence of crimes, provide a way for us to think about and center the victims. We have 1,400 points of light, one to represent each one of the victims and survivors. We put together these 3 timelines. The Jeffrey Epstein timeline across the top, which are all of his allegations. The Donald Trump timeline along the bottom, which are all of his allegations and crimes. In the middle, all of the times.
Well, can I just address, I've said it enough times as somebody that watched Candace through this whole Charlie Kirk situation and everything else. What's more of a psyop? Some dude took 3 million EFTA exhibits and made a library and a timeline. Candace has the whole world giving her tips, and she's like, yeah, 9 months later, I'm still working on the timeline, just trying to perfect some things, but I'll get it to the public so we can all work these things out.
He's made his straight line right here.
Yeah, this guy's like, I've got Epstein's timeline, Trump's timeline, and everybody in between.
Speaking of Candace, off topic real quick, but I thought I saw a screen cap. I didn't look into it if it was real or not. Did she have Hunter on?
That's coming up this week.
Okay, so that was
Yep.
I couldn't
Well,
tell
here
if that was-
I'll give you some comments on that too, but first I just want to finish out the museum.
They work together. I think what you see here is that these two men lived remarkably similar lives, which makes sense because they were friends for decades. The difference is one of them died in prison and the other one is the president of the United States. What we hope for and what we hope to advocate for is to have not only all of the files released, but also to have them properly redacted so that it doesn't expose the names of victims or survivors, and also unredact the names of witnesses and perpetrators and co-conspirators, so that there is true
perpetrators,
transparency.
co-conspirators, they all get to be redacted, but the victims themselves have at it. That sounds like the American way. So closing things out, the voice that I think carries the perspective and the goal of the Rethink Tank, but actually achieves the audience and the scale we could only dream of. Somebody I opine to be like is Jimmy Dore. This guy is a moderate reporter who's just spitting facts and why it's tough for even his show to get off the ground. But he did a great job finding some pretty solid evidence. Doug, what point did you flirt with earlier today that maybe Jeffrey Epstein is still alive?
Shocking development in the
Okay,
Jeffrey
Doug,
Epstein
thanks.
saga. So there's been a shocking development in the Jeffrey Epstein saga, and it's almost conclusive proof. It's as close to conclusive proof, I guess, as we can ever get that he's not dead. Jeffrey Epstein had his prostate removed. And how do we know? Because it's in the Epstein files. Here it is. You have high testosterone and still have a need for Viagra because you don't have a prostate, right? Jeffrey Epstein. Correct. So he didn't have a prostate. Here's another one. A patient, Epstein, Jeffrey. This is from LabCorp. This is in the files. It says after radical prostatectomy, so he had a radical prostatectomy. This is from the autopsy of Jeffrey Epstein. His bladder had 5 milliliters of cloudy yellow urine. The prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged with marked enlargement of the vermilabitanum. The testes are unremarkable. Boy, you don't want to hear that about your testes, do you? Grok, is it possible to grow a replacement prostate? Grok says no. It's currently not possible to grow a full replacement prostate.
Grok, it currently is not.
I like how it sounded surprised when he heard that too. Like, oh my God, seriously?
So in short, what do we get from that? The autopsy disclosed good rectum. And then Jimmy Dore's like, he doesn't have one.
Alex,
Peculiar.
what I got is in Grok we trust.
Yay, there we go.
That's a slogan.
Doug said he's willing to make him president.
Grok for president.
Oh,
But
geez.
the Patriots Grok.
Oh.
Patriots Grok. Not the Browns Grok.
Not the Browns Grok. He's also getting interviewed by that Vrabel girl. Anywho. Last bit of news coming from the week, and then we're going to close it out with some fun. Short, I promise. But one last little piece that came from the week is Elon Musk. I'm on Air Force One on my way to China. It's like, who let the Asperger's kid in the back of the bus? He's like, woo! We're going to China. And then I don't know if you saw them all coming off the plane, but they all look super dignitary, like they're all in their suits. And, the militia escorting them and everything else. And then big boy baby in the back, like, I'm on vacation.
You know he'd get off of it and he'd be like,
oh, yeah. Dab. I dabbed. Did you see that? President, you see that? Yeah. We saw it. You dabbed.
Pulls that
cool stuff.
Trump pulls out his keys and starts.
So
has a laser pointer and leads him up the ramp.
It's just peculiar how in this American government, the logic is not consistent.
That's fair to say.
Never has been. Fair to say it never will be. But the logic is not consistent. When you start criticizing the manipulation of a foreign government and our allegiance to them over ourselves, people go, what the is wrong with you? This is our greatest ally. This is of all the allies, this is the greatest. We care about our allies. If we don't stand up and protect our allies, that means nothing. And we're in a war against China. Did you forget that? We're in a race against China. We need to be united, and we need to be in defense of our allies, unless China gets hungry for Taiwan. Otherwise, I guess Trump doesn't have much to say for our allies.
Push the button.
China. Taiwan.
China.
Not defend, but supply defense. Should be.
You go over to China. I love them. China.
Big guy. Big guy.
China. I have to
Big
have
guy.
my China. China.
There's a lot of Chinas. I could have kept that going. It was there were so many China. That's our president. That's our guy. And then on the global stage, hey, you know that ally you swore to protect and you're like invested heavily into, and like the whole Cold War against China is over that battle against that ally called Taiwan. Did you guys talk about them?
How are your talks, sir?
Great.
How are your talks, sir?
Great.
Did you talk about Taiwan?
Great place. Incredible. China is beautiful.
Did you talk about Taiwan, Mr. President?
You should think.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. President, did you talk about Taiwan?
Thank you, press.
3 times. For a guy that's got a quip about everything, he's always got a comment. He didn't have a comment in the defense of one of our great allies.
You think it's because he was in China, though?
No, I think it's because they're not the greatest ally. They're a great one, but not the greatest. And it is because he was in China. And it was because they definitely talked about Taiwan. Yeah. And there definitely was some understanding developed in that room.
Taiwan creates, 70% of our processing chips. Let's not forget that, people.
Doug, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think the president remembered that.
I'm just saying, let's not forget that, people.
Right. And something was negotiated. Some sort of understanding was developed in that room, and we won't know. It will go unacknowledged because this is the most transparent administration. That being said, I'm going to close out our whole political scheme here with Owen Schroyer, who's like us, another voice that's shunned because sometimes truth hurts, but he really puts our entire political and governmental landscape in the perfect view.
So let me explain how American politics works. The donors and lobbyists buy our politicians. Our politicians then have to work at their behest and have to do what the donor class and the lobbyists want them to do. The problem is the politicians don't want to be hung for treason. So they have to come up with an excuse for the things that they do that otherwise would not be popular or not make any sense at all. So they come up with excuses like, ooh, that country over there evil, we must go to war. Or they come up with excuses like, ooh, this virus deadly, you have to mandate a vaccine, take an injection. See how it works?
See how it works? It's the donor class that we're really being represented by. So of our final pieces here, I'm going to close out our episode, but there is just one final bit I wanted to bring into today's episode. Thomas Massey is the real Clancy. We got to get a little 21 Pilots here at the end because for those that aren't fans, let me tell you, they're closing out there. We've been kind of integrating 21 Pilots into our show. We want 21 Pilots to host the Super Bowl halftime show. We also are calling for Fortnite to finally give them some skins. So we've been peddling the hashtags, hashtag 21 Pilots Fortnite skins, hashtag 21 Pilots, Super Bowl LIX or whatever. We'll get back to them.
Super Bowl period.
But for those that are unfamiliar, the whole story has been a fight of a rebel getting the people rallied against the evil bishops that are controlling our world. Thomas Massey is one of those Clancys. And so I thought this was kind of a good hand in hand for our show. But a really cool thing as this Ohio band is closing out, they've closing out the story. They're closing out their tours and kind of bringing the career to a close. Not to say that they're done making music, but when they do, it'll be a whole different thing.
Well-earned break.
A well-earned break. And so the grand finale was announced this week that they're doing a super show, their longest set, and a big farewell to the story and the fans at the Horseshoe at Ohio State in Columbus, because they're from the Dayton area and claim to be, from Columbus. So with all things considered, it was funny in the lieu of the hype and kind of bringing up some marketing for this new tour or this new show. Josh Dunn was on a podcast, and I just wanted to, we talk about AI all the time, and Josh Dunn had some, it's Josh. So it's very surface level, but he had some comments about AI in just in general, but also in art and in music.
AI. I feel like it scares me. It is a dangerous realm we're getting into with supercomputers and learning technology. It all a lot of real benefit or real good that can be done with it. I also don't want to sound like an old man here, but I'm sitting here right now with kind of relatively minimal, but enough setup to I recorded drums for our whole last two records right here, and I feel like I've got all the tools that I need to do that. I think with our favorite records and our favorite songs and albums, it's just so full of micro decisions that are made by humans and big decisions. It's like, man, the tone of this guitar might have taken 3 days for somebody to get, perfect for a chorus of a song. There's songs that, I recorded 3 different drum sets in 2 different rooms for one song. And there's something about the human element of these the decisions made, and also human performance. Tyler playing the keys, singing into a mic, me playing the drums, and being intentional about the softer hits and the harder hits. There's just something that I feel like can't be replicated by AI as much as they listen to songs and extract data and stuff. I think, again, we're kind of in an unknown space with that, and I guess there are tools that could be used, but we haven't used any of them for our music.
So nothing too new, nothing too profound, but the interesting takeaway from that is sometimes what makes perfection is the process. Yeah. Working it, then reworking it, adjusting it, and adapting. Whereas AI doesn't do that. That isn't a part of the algorithm. That isn't a part of the process. You give it a prompt, it gives you the answer. That's the first and final draft. You could continue to work it, but that also means you're continuing to pump in prompts that you're guiding its and steering its changes and adaptations. Whereas what we're really learning, what makes great art, what makes the great experience is the constant process of reworking it. And that really, when you're forcing AI to do that with prompts, you're really just taking AI through the human experience. And I guess really the takeaway is that a major piece of that is the human experience. All right, closing out the episode. We're pretty much done here. I just want the final say, 21 Pilots, the Clancy situation, Thomas Massey's out, Trump sucks, Lutnick sucks him, the whole thing's crazy, and Joe Rogan is a clown. Not the Heyoka, but definitely a well-paid, overpaid, sacred clown. Closing it all out, though, the profile name is Pissed Magistus, and I've seen him before. Just a TikToker, another content creator, but in a world where it's up to you to disarm the bishops, it's up to you to take Dima back, it's up to you to take your country back, your city back, whatever. Here's some good food for thought.
That what you're rebelling against is a homicidal, genocidal, pedophilic collection of war profiteering sociopaths who have hijacked society's power structures from within and are weaponizing them against all life on Earth for personal gain. So, respond accordingly. You get what I mean? Like, this is not just a problem of like, oh no, the wages are too low or the prices are too high or the tax system is inappropriately balanced. This is a homicidal, genocidal, pedophilic collection of war profiteering sociopaths who have hijacked society's power structure from within and are weaponizing them against all life on Earth for personal gain. So there should be like a measured, responsible, appropriate, proportionate amount of outrage.
You mean voting and saying please isn't the answer? Ah, shucks. Who's the real goofball?
Okay.
Any wrapping thoughts on the whole? I mean, we've thrown a lot out of today's episode, but any wrapping thoughts?
Nothing profound, considering we touched on a lot of wide variety, other than just be an authentic self and kind of make sure you're keeping your ear to the ground as best as possible. Vote with what you feel is morally right at this point.
Sure. And that's tough to figure out. So, I mean, that could be the goal, but, we're not always going to get it right. Ricky, any wrapping thoughts? And then we can close it out.
I did owe my guy Will.
Yeah. All right. So, Ricky, we're closing out today's episode. Tell the folks where they can find you. We appreciate you joining us as always.
Just Another Day TV. Catch us. And here, bro. We be here. Summertime. Have a good time. Peace in the Middle East.
That's right. Guys, we appreciate you joining us. If we made you laugh, if we made you think, the best thing you could do to support this show is like the episode and be sure to share the link. If you liked it, then someone else will too. We're here every...
Just Another Day TV. Just Another Day TV.